AI is probably the biggest invention in the last decade. It's been a huge advantage for me and my business. But in this video, I want to just explain some simple ways that I use AI in my personal day-to-day. How can you start using this today to look more professional and do better at your job? So the first thing we want to talk about is prompt creation. So prompt creation is really the most important part of using AI, ChatGPT, Bard, now Gemini, all of these tools is how good are the prompts that you're creating and are they doing what you're telling them to do? So the first piece of this is understanding how to properly communicate what you're looking for. Now what's really cool is you can use ChatGPT and ask it to improve your prompts. So what I would do is spend some time figuring out why you actually need ChatGPT, what you're gonna use it for, and then instead of just writing the prompt every single time and being really lazy about it, start writing better prompts for your common use cases. So one of my most common use cases as someone who struggles to spell and write is spell check, grammar check, and correcting style so that it looks more professional. And what I did was I created a prompt for this. And part of what I created was just saying, hey, make sure to improve the language a little bit, keep the vocabulary the same so it still sounds like I'm writing it, fix all grammar and spelling errors, but make sure not to change the meaning. That is probably the most common prompt that I use. And I use something called Prompt Genius. I'm not affiliated, this is not a promotion, it's a free Chrome plugin. And basically I can create the most common prompts that I'm using. And I just started using this recently and I'm really loving it. This is what it looks like. Here's the Chrome plugin. And so if I just go to Chrome, do the spell check example, I can either view it, I can change the view so you can see them, but this is, for me, it's easier. I click here, I put in whatever needs to be spell checked, which I already did down below, copy it, and then if I just paste this, the new prompt will be there with the information that I need edited. Now this is super powerful if you are rewriting scripts or using it for different tools because you can create that prompt. Another use case that I really like is understanding the tone. So if I'm sending out a professional email and I need to more or less be very strict about something. So if it's client relations and the client's asking for something and we can't give it to them and you want to be very stern with your point, but you want to be friendly, courteous, and thoughtful. And so sometimes if you write an email out, and especially if you're frustrated with the back and forth communication, it can come off unprofessional and rude, and that can really burn that relationship. So you can ask ChatGPT, you copy that email in, you put it into the prompt, you say, hey, how does this email come across? What is the tone currently? And if it says, you're being abrasive, you can help use ChatGPT to understand how you're coming across and then use it to edit it and say, okay, perfect. Can you modify this so it is more friendly, but still kind of my standpoint? So that's the most basic use that I'm doing on a day-to-day. The other piece of this is idea creation. So if you're coming up with a marketing strategy or a plan and you're running dry on ideas, you can say, come up with 10 ideas for blogs on EV cars. Super simple. Obviously, the more details you give the prompt, the better. If you talk about the goal, if you talk about the audience, if you talk about every piece of what your expectations are, the closer it'll get to that. And you can train ChatGPT through custom GPTs to your voice. That's a little bit more advanced, and I'll kind of show you some of that going on, but you can see here, it's pumping out ideas for me. And this is just a really simple way, and it almost seems gimmicky and as a toy, but if you start using this in your day-to-day, it's gonna be super powerful. Another use case here is responding to emails. If you get a long email and you don't know exactly how to respond, but you have the bullet points, which you want to come off as more professional, more thought out. So you take the email beforehand, you put it in here and you say, okay, I'd like you to respond. Here are my 5 bullet points. Make sure it's professional and clear and explains each one very well. To create a custom GPT, it's actually a lot easier than you think. The hardest part is just basically creating that prompt. Basically right here, explore, you can create a new custom GPT or you can go to your GPTs. So I'm gonna go to my GPT and I'm gonna go ahead and edit this so you guys can see the back end. So this is a customer service GPT based on sales emails that my company, Otter PR, gets on a day-to-day basis. And what we found was sometimes when people ask complicated questions, instead of just saying, hey, I'm interested in this service, what are kind of questions you think you'd get in an FAQ? Just all of these detailed questions that an account executive might know, but a customer service representative, frontline service might not know all those answers. What you have to do is basically build the knowledge base. So that's the first step, is create this knowledge base, which you'll see basically here. And then if you want to include your style guide and your client demographic so it knows who it's speaking to, that's what we did in this use case, but it can be used in an example for financial analysis. If you put in examples of financial analysis that you've done before, if you're more on a consulting side, AI models, basically put in all the information you want it to know. And what we do is review this as if you were hiring a brand new hire who has no experience in the role, but is very smart. And you're gonna list out everything you need them to know, kind of like a standard operating procedure, each step that needs to be followed, and then you're gonna give them their instructions or prompt, which again, just work like a standard operating procedure, SOP, would, where you're being very specific with what you want that person or that model to do, and then you just ask it questions. So this is basically set up on our knowledge base, and in here I can chat with it, or I can use this section right here and I can actually have it update the prompt as we go, because I can just tell it to update the prompt. But I'm just gonna go ahead, and I prefer to use this style of configuration here. And you guys can see what it looks like. And then I'm gonna say, I would like to. So USA Wire is one of our services. This is programmed to be more email style. So what it's doing is it's doing exactly how it was programmed. It's basically looking through our knowledge base for what offer that is, and then it's learning what that call to action is, because we're in marketing and call to actions are important, and then how to respond. All right, so it crafted this email for me, and now all I need to do is copy the email section and paste it and respond to the customer. So you can see how this custom GPT has really saved me and my team a lot of time, and actually gotten our quality of responses to be a lot higher, because they're way more customized, and it'll look at everything in the email thread if you want it to and respond. So now the live chat, just to explain it a little bit more, it's basically a dumb version of what a custom GPT would be to you. And anything you prompt it with, it'll know, and it's very smart. So it's using statistical models to come up with what words are gonna be next. The advantage of the custom GPTs is you can educate it with things that you want it to know. Now, a few other things that I've left out about the ChatGPT that's come out recently is, first off, you can generate images. One of the things they do is they're in supply chain. They send a custom image basically of their logo on a truck shipping something that they made with ChatGPT, and they make it ultra personalized to that brand. So they make it mean something to that individual person. So basically I just prompt this to give me an image of an otter if I was gonna cold email, someone at Otter PR, they're a marketing firm, and this is what it came up with. Now you can play with that, but the idea is personal, cute connections, a unique way to build a relationship. Obviously you can use this for graphic design, you can input this into Canva, you can make live edits. It's really cool what you can do with Canva, but that's a more advanced training. So the other thing here is you can also add attachments right here by using this little section. So you can upload anything there, you can upload Excel files, you can have things outputted as Excel files. It's gotten really, really powerful. The other piece, and probably the last piece we'll cover in this video, is you'll see up here the different models you can pick from. So obviously right now GPT-4 is the most powerful model. There are some limitations here where you can do 40 messages in 3 hours. ChatGPT 3.5 is really good and still very smart, but honestly not as powerful. I noticed that the responses aren't as good. I try never to use it, especially when it comes to writing and communication. Now, if you're doing very repetitive tasks and you need more credits, of course, that's an easier way, and you can always upgrade your account to get more credits, or you can do things through API, which again, way more advanced for this. The other thing you can do is plugins. So right here, you can create different plugins. So you can upload Excel files, you can connect different softwares. There's hundreds of plugins. Most of these are outdated or not needed because of all the upgrades they've made into ChatGPT. They basically made all the plugins, for the most part, built in, but you can see you can use a plugin like Zapier and have it take custom actions. You can have it read, write PDFs, basically anything you can think of. There's a whole bunch here. I used to use plugins all the time. Now with the update to GPT-4, they basically made all the plugins built in, so you don't need to use it. Those are the most common ways that I'm using ChatGPT in my business and in my personal life. What do you guys think? Do you have any really good use cases that you're doing? Please comment and let me know.